So to this point, as you all know, elected Republicans have had the spines of jellyfish. We've been screaming from the top of our lungs, how do you idiots not see this? Trump's approval rating is now 39%. It's only been 100 days. It's a historic low in the history of polling. So the idea that you hitch your wagon to this guy and everything will be hunky-dory, you're out of your fucking mind. The opposite is going to happen. If you don't turn on him, you're cooked, right? Like, that's where we're at. Well, guess what? Still, 99.9% of them are the biggest cucks on the planet, sitting in the cuck chair in the corner and allowing Trump to do their wives. But there's one guy who stood up. Now, in the past, he's stood up somewhat, but I was sort of mocking Rand Paul is the guy because he would never call out Trump by name. In fact, he would talk about how, oh, tariffs are bad, right? He would do that whole shtick. But then in the same rant, he would like praise Trump for something. And it's like, this is how cucked they are. They feel like, well, even in the midst of directly criticizing a policy he's most obsessed with and implementing, I need to coddle his nuts a little bit because if I don't, then he's going to behead me publicly on Twitter and try to take me out and try to ruin my career and my life and maybe threaten me. So it was still bitch made, even though it was better than any other Republican politician. It was still bitch made. I mean, there's no way around it. But to be fair to Rand Paul, what he just decided to do is, oh, I'm going to actually fight on the policy front. I am going to try to block the tariffs. Okay, now we're talking. So Manu Raju of CNN says the following. GOP Senator Rand Paul says he expects to have enough votes in the Senate to pass a resolution to effectively block Trump's tariffs. But Paul, who expects to vote Wednesday, attacked Speaker Johnson's move to block such resolutions as, quote, dishonesty. Quote, I would call it chicanery. I would call it dishonesty. Paul said of Johnson's move to tuck a provision blocking tariff resolutions into a rule. Quote, I mean, it's just a terrible idea that he's actually overturning the law with a rule. So what Rand Paul is saying here is, I actually have the votes needed to block the tariffs. It was like, what? So first of all, I don't know. I tried to figure this out and I couldn't. I don't know if in the Senate you need 60 votes for that or if you just need 51. If it's 51, I could definitely see how he has the votes because it's every Democrat and him and maybe one other Republican or whatever it is, right? If it's 51, I get it. But if he was able to get 60, that means you have every Democrat and then a decent chunk of Republicans in order to get to that 60 number. So I don't know how many people he was able to convince that, hey, these tariffs, man, is tanking the stock market, it's going to ruin the economy, inflation's going to go up, unemployment's going to rise, this is horrible, we're going to have stagflation. I don't know how many he got, but clearly he's been working behind the scenes and trying to get, like, hey, man, you see what's happening with these tariffs? This is like a nightmare. This is going to destroy the country. And so he got enough, according to him. I have enough. I have the votes. But what Mike Johnson did is he slipped into a must-pass bill, basically a rule which says we can't say or do anything vis-a-vis the tariffs. So Mike Johnson is protecting Trump's right to destroy the United States economy. That's what he's doing. There is no other reading of that. And so you have Rand Paul. I mean, he's been trying, right? So here, this is from the other day. He goes on Fox Business. Here's what he says.
Well, here's the thing is, it's about emergencies. It's about whether we're going to run a country under emergencies. When the previous emergency with Canada and Mexico, they said, oh, it was fentanyl. I don't know. Are they alleging that fentanyl is coming from Sweden or Finland or Monaco or, it's emergency for 80 some odd countries. And through that emergency, then they're instituting a tax, which is a tariff, without the authority of Congress. So I have two objections. One is the emergency, and then there's the economic objection to tariffs. But primarily the debate really is over whether or not you're going to have the power of taxation originate in Congress. This is something, the English fought against the king doing it. They fought for the supremacy of Parliament. And when our founding fathers did this, they said, oh, taxation and the power to destroy is such a power that we fear. We're only going to put that in Congress, and we're going to make sure that all taxes start in the House of Representatives before they go to the Senate.
So what he's saying is Trump is just declaring, I have the emergency authority to do these tariffs. Okay, but the legal justification has never been used for tariffs on this scale, ever. He's doing universal tariffs and saying, I have the emergency authority to do that. Well, Rand Paul saying, well, fucking emergency. What emergency? What are you talking about? You have to actually, that has to be defended. That you have to make that argument. And by the way, I'm sure there's court cases on this. The problem is it's taking way too fucking long because the damages of the tariffs are already here. But any court that looks at this is going to say the same thing. What fucking emergency? You haven't proven an emergency. You can't just, in my own mind, I made up that there's an emergency, therefore I have the authority to do this. No, you need a real, tangible example and evidence and proof that, no, this is an emergency and I need to act. They initially said, to his point, with Canada and Mexico in particular, they were like, oh, fentanyl is the emergency. So that's why we're doing 25% tariff on both of them. Okay, but we saw the numbers and the amount of fentanyl coming in was immensely tiny. And so that justification is bogus. And then as Rand Paul says, well, you also tariff fucking Sweden and Monaco and all these places. Is fentanyl coming from there? Right? And then you have the justifications, he's just doing tariffs to make deals. And so it's art of the deal. They say that every time he pulls the tariff back. But then when he puts the tariff on, they go, this is great. This is going to revitalize American manufacturing. First of all, no, it's not. Second of all, which is it? You can't pick both. It can't be, if there's no tariffs, it's great because it's art of the deal. If there are tariffs, it's great because then manufacturing is going to explode. They just change it all the fucking time. They change it all the time. So it makes no sense. And then a while back, Rand Paul, remember this? He was on the floor of the Senate and he was saying this.
I am a Republican. I am a supporter of Donald Trump, but this is a bipartisan problem. I don't care if the president is a Republican or a Democrat. I don't want to live under emergency rule. I don't want to live where my representatives cannot speak for me and have a check and balance on power. One person can make a mistake. And guess what? Tariffs are a terrible mistake. They don't work. They will lead to higher prices. They are a tax, and they have historically been bad for our economy. But even if this were something that was magic and was going to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I wouldn't want to live under emergency rule. I would want to live in a constitutional republic where there are checks and balances against the excesses of both sides, right or left.
So what Trump is doing is he found what he thinks is a cheat code for dealing with a constitutional republic and a representative democracy. And that cheat code is, if I declare emergencies, then I have more power and more authority and I can do what I want. I don't need to deal with Congress. I don't need to deal with the courts. I don't need to deal with checks and balances. So he's just declaring emergencies everywhere. That's what he did with the tariffs. That's also what he did with the Alien Enemies Act, which is the legal rationale for rounding people up, kidnapping them and human trafficking them and sending a bunch of them to a slave labor concentration camp in El Salvador. That's the rationale that he's using. He's saying Alien Enemies Act, which has only previously been used when we are actually at war. And Trump is saying Alien Enemies Act because, I don't know, Venezuelan gangs or something. Well, first of all, it's already on shaky legal ground because you can't say we're at war, but it's not with the country of Venezuela. It's with gangs from within the country. Well, that's already shaky legal ground because there's a formal process to declare a war and it has to be against a country, right? So, and beyond that, the further problem is, even though he says it's going after Venezuelan gangsters, we know the specifics of cases where he's sending people to the concentration camp and they're not gangsters. One's a 19-year-old makeup artist, right? We have Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who doesn't even have a fucking criminal record. We have a guy with the autism awareness tattoo for his 15-year-old brother who has autism who he takes care of. And they used the existence of that tattoo as evidence he's in a gang. So it fails in multiple ways. Number one, we're not actually at war with the government of Mexico, with the state of Mexico. Excuse me, not Mexico, Venezuela. Yeah, Venezuela. We're not at war with the country of Venezuela, which you would probably need to invoke this emergency authorization. Number two, even if you say it's okay that you declared war on a gang, even then you fail because on the substance of it, on the factual basis of it, these are not gangsters. So all this fucking cheat code attempt of emergency rule, it's all fucking bullshit, and it's all going to totally and completely fall apart. And so to Rand Paul's credit, he's at least standing up now. He's not doing it, which is disgusting, by the way, and pathetic. He's not doing it when it comes to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's not saying shit about the kidnappings and human traffickings to a concentration camp, so shame on him for that. None of the Republicans are doing that, right? But he is on the tariff front. He is saying, no. We can't let this stand. Congress has the authority, and he says he has the votes, and it's all because of fucking weasel bitch-ass Mike Johnson, who blocked him from exerting Congress's authority over this. He blocked him from fixing it. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. It's bad. This is bad. The fact that Mike Johnson is still any fucking thing Trump wants to do, he's right there. It doesn't matter how illegal it is, doesn't matter how unconstitutional it is, doesn't matter how bogus and made up it is. Mike Johnson is like, I'm with you, dog. And so then you have somebody, and Rand Paul is at least principled on tariffs because he's a libertarian. He wants zero tariffs in any scenario, which is, I don't even agree with that. I believe in some targeted tariffs, right? But he's taking a stand on it, has the votes, and they're being fucking blocked. So you tell me how this is a functioning democracy. You tell me. We're not a constitutional republic or representative democracy anymore. This is one man asserting power to do anything and everything he wants, even if the results are tanking the United States economy beyond recognition. Now you have, who was it? Was it Jamie Dimon? There was somebody who came out and said, best case scenario moving forward is a recession. Best case. Which begs the question, what's worst case? What's worst case? So anyway, there you have it. Rand Paul, at least in some ways, standing up, but he's being blocked. He's going to the media, too, to basically talk to them and be like, hey, man, what the fuck? He's calling out Mike Johnson. He's saying this is a fucking dirty procedural trick that he's using, because it is. And unfortunately, there's not enough Republicans with a spine and who give a shit who are willing to, say, declare war on Mike Johnson and try to twist their arms. There's not enough of them willing to speak out. Again, the most important thing to do when fascism is taking over is everybody stands with one united voice and we all go, hell no. Hell no. And right now, even though Trump's approval is at 39% and it's getting lower and lower by the day, these people are still too big of bitches, or they've drunk the Kool-Aid and they're fucking gonzo mentally. They're just part of the fascist cult. Those are the only options. That's what we're dealing with now. And we're going to be dealing with the consequences of that for a really long time. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. You know the drill. Everybody, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Helps out massively, costs you nothing. Click that like button. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every time a video drops. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. This is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser in my life. I've never done an ad read. I'm very proud of that fact. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends below. We had a whole bunch of awesome episodes recently. We're going to be talking to David Dole this week about the Canadian elections. I can't wait to talk about that. There's so much to say about that, with the Liberals basically dominating and destroying the Conservatives because they're somewhat connected to Trump. So sign up for Substack below. And then the other thing is, as I keep pointing out, everybody go subscribe to Corin's World YouTube channel, because we're dropping Kyle and Corin's over there. We haven't missed a week yet since we've been doing it on his channel. We're trying to get him to 100,000 subscribers. So do that too. All right, guys. I love y'all. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace. Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.